Wondering how to start your self-love journey, or maybe you've tried several things in the past but none of them worked, then you're in the right place. Because in this video I'm going to share with you the 8 simple things I wish I knew before starting my self-love journey, so you can avoid making the same mistakes as me. The first thing I wish I knew before starting my self-love journey is that self-love is not selfish. I used to have this toxic belief that self-love was selfish. Every time I tried to take care of myself, I felt guilty. So people-pleasing became my default mode. I was constantly trying to please everyone around me and meet their needs. It made me feel like I was a good person, like I was doing the right thing. After all, I didn't want to be called selfish. Fast forward to the moment when I realized that I had abandoned myself yet again. I had put everyone else's needs before my own. I felt exhausted, angry, and sad, until it dawned on me. I didn't have to do anything to deserve love. That was the moment I promised myself that I would always put myself first. I haven't abandoned myself ever since. Which brings me to the second thing I wish I knew before starting my self-love journey, and that is that no one is coming to save you. As a hopeless romantic, I developed this fantasy of the white knight in shining armor coming to save me from all my problems. This led to a few broken relationships and numerous tries to get it perfect, until I met my husband. We were both not even close to being perfect, yet our love was strong enough to withstand all the challenges and difficulties we experienced. The best part is, he didn't save me, he didn't even try. I learned the hard way that the only way to have a healthy relationship with someone was to learn to save yourself. I worked on my issues, overcame my fears, and showed up as an emotionally mature individual because I had no other choice. I knew that if I stayed in the same negative thinking loops and behaviors, I wouldn't have the relationship that I dreamt of. And what made it truly worth it is that it didn't resemble a fairy tale. It was actually better because it was real. The third thing I wish I knew before starting my self-love journey is that self-love means choosing yourself daily. What does this mean? It means being able to recognize when you're neglecting your needs and paying way too much attention on other people's opinions of you. Choosing yourself is about showing up for yourself no matter what. I chose to do this by keeping the commitments I made to myself. Growing up, I used to take care of everyone around me and put myself last on my priority list. This made me feel exhausted, overwhelmed, sometimes even bitter, so I made the switch. I started showing up for myself daily, which helped me trust myself more. For example, I used to postpone my self-care. I prioritized my relationships, my friends, my work, to the point of neglecting myself. One small commitment I made to myself was to spend 10 minutes journaling daily. It was my treat after a long, exhausting day, the moment I was alone with my thoughts, and I could let myself go inward and deepen the connection I had with myself. Then, I added 10 more minutes and started journaling in the morning. It was my wake-up treat that gave me the clarity and motivation to get things done. It helped me tune in, no distractions, just me and the journal in front of me. After years of trial and error, I developed a system that helped me learn to love myself, and now I want to share it with you. It is called the Self-Love Toolkit, and it consists of the iconic Self-Love Journal, 365 days of self-care, the Self-Compassion Method, and 3 exclusive bonuses that you won't be able to find anywhere else. If you want to learn more, just click the link in the description box below or visit www.theselflovetoolkit.com. The next thing I wish I knew before starting my self-love journey is that self-love is difficult. If you expect to go from self-hate to self-love in just a day, that's simply not gonna happen. Learning to love yourself is a bumpy road, and I wish someone had told me that right from the get-go, so I didn't have unrealistic expectations. The truth is that you will get lasting results even if you spend just 10 or 15 minutes per day, but it's gonna take you some time to make it last. Reframing your mindset when it comes to taking care of yourself and being your #1 priority takes time. If you had the belief that you weren't worthy of love for years, you might still be pleasing other people and waiting around for them to validate you. The good news is that you no longer have to rely on external approval because you know you have yourself. The bad news is you need to be persistent and train yourself to never give up on yourself. Self-love is a choice. It's a conscious choice that you won't feel like making every single day. Maybe you'll fall back into old routines, and that's okay. What matters is this. You now know what it feels like to choose yourself, to put yourself first, to take care of yourself for a change. All you have to do is remember that, even if it's difficult at times, it is absolutely worth it. The next thing I wish I knew before starting my self-love journey is that some people are not gonna like it. When you start your self-love journey, it's gonna impact any current relationship in your life. Maybe some of your friendships won't last. Maybe the dynamic in your romantic relationship will change. But you have to be willing to take that risk if you want to be true to yourself. Some people won't like the fact that you're changing. After all, it's the old you that served them pretty well. That new version of you is gonna feel different, more challenging, maybe a bit more difficult to handle. And that's okay. The harsh truth I wish I knew was that I was going to alienate a lot of people by becoming more protective of my time and energy. Loving myself meant not replying to messages instantly, not going out as much, not prioritizing my relationships over my mental health. It meant letting go of toxic friends, drama, and complicated relationships. It meant putting myself first, and a lot of people didn't like it. Don't be afraid of losing people. Be afraid of losing yourself, trying to please everyone around you. By the way, if you like these types of videos, you're gonna love what I have in store for you next week. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. The next thing I wish I knew before starting my self-love journey is that we accept the love we think we deserve. I used to believe that I didn't deserve to be loved. So no matter how much effort I put into it, I couldn't convince myself that I was someone worth loving. So I had to reframe my toxic belief that I was a bad person. The first thing I did was question the belief and its validity. If you're struggling with a similar belief, here are some questions you can ask yourself. Who told you that you're a bad person? What does a bad person even mean? Can you at least entertain the idea that you're not a bad person, but maybe a regular person who did something bad? After I challenged my negative belief, I started collecting evidence that I was a good person. For example, I want you to ask yourself, have you ever taken care of a sick loved one, helped a stranger on the street, comforted one of your friends, fed your pet, etc.? We often don't notice the nice things we do for others because we're too busy beating ourselves up over every little mistake. So I want you to flip the narrative in your favor. I want you to start paying attention to all the good things that you do on a daily basis. Here's what happened for me. The more I focused on that, the more I started to act accordingly, and that helped me reframe the belief that I deserved to be loved. The seventh thing I wish I knew before starting my self-love journey is that self-love is the foundation of self-trust. Over the years, I struggled with trusting myself. The interesting thing is that I couldn't trust myself because I didn't love myself. It might not seem that obvious, but when you dig deeper, lack of self-trust is directly linked to a negative story you keep telling yourself in your mind. How can you trust yourself if you keep betraying yourself by prioritizing other people's needs before your own? Here's an example of not trusting my own judgment. I used to ask my husband before forming my opinion on things that were business related. I felt like he knew more. He had more authority in my eyes. And I went to him when I wanted to make a decision. Because I didn't love myself, I didn't trust myself to come up with a worthy solution. I expected him to be able to solve things for me. And while his answers were wise and helpful, they didn't really help me learn to rely on myself. And that's a truly important component of self-trust. So how did I change? By learning to solve problems on my own, coming up with my own solutions, trusting myself to do the right thing. When I started loving myself and keeping the commitments I made to myself, I strengthened my self-trust muscle, which also had a positive impact on my self-confidence. Which actually leads me to the next thing I wish I knew before starting my self-love journey, and that is that self-love helps you develop self-confidence. How is self-love linked to self-confidence? True confidence comes from knowing your worth, communicating it clearly to others, and designing a life that you're excited about living. When you don't love yourself, you can't do any of those things. Knowing your worth means appreciating and valuing yourself as a human being, which means you love and respect yourself as you are. When you love yourself, you don't care about other people's perceptions of you. You know exactly who you are and exactly where you stand. And that is crucial when it comes to being self-confident. Now, if you want to discover my step-by-step guide on how to show up for yourself, I recommend watching this video next. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in that video.